I participated in the Dutch VGC Wugtrio Cup 2023. We have 16 amazing teams who clears it out in a 3 versus 3 fight and a best of 3. Before you ask anything, here are the rules. You cannot have multiple species in the whole team, meaning you cannot use, for example, Gyarados forms twice. Games will be played in an open team seed best of 3 format. Matches will be played in the Regulation D format. Matches will be played in a group stage format, leading to a single elimination format. Pairings for Wu players against Wu are randomized. This is an amazing experience for me as I'm new to the Dutch VGC community and VGC community at all, but I already know they are lovely people and always try to help out. There's so many challenging people out there like Timo, Bas, Matthäus and Lennart, and I really love the experience I get from them, from locals and of course from this kind of tournaments. If you like these kinds of videos, make sure to drop a like and subscribe for more videos. Without any further ado, let's get straight into the tournament. First, the team introduction. I made the team name, Porygon VGC. Shocking. The team members are Sly, Yanabi and me. Since I'm very new to the Dutch VGC Discord, there are a lot of new names. Sly went to a lot of the tournaments in this VGC season, so he's probably the more experienced player and probably the best player on our team. Then we have Yanabi, who just like me is very new to the VGC community as he started playing since the Europe International Championships. I myself am growing faster and faster in VGC. This is a very new team, very inexperienced team. We will try to get as much wins as possible. We will take it in the group stage on against the Slumbering Slowpokes, Team Friesland and Team Girlballs. The draw was live on KD his channel, and I thought it was a very nice group to begin with, since there were a lot of new members in the pool who are still new to VGC. The first match will be played against the Slumbering Slowpokes. Yanabi must face Nilly, Slime against Robbie, and I must face against Steve. The matches went as following. This is Yanabi's team. It is with Ursaluna, Cresselia, Urshifu, Iron Hands, Amoonguss and Heatran. He trained a lot with this team and I hope he plays this match right, cause it's the first one for our team. The first match was versus Yanabi and Niggy the Kid. Yanabi trained and has already experience with his team. Niggy the Kid, interesting enough, has a Slowking on his team, which was very surprising but also very fun, because his team is of course the Slumbering Slowpokes. Yanabi starts with Cresselia and Heatran, and Niggy starts with Slowking and Indeedee. Niggy starts with his Slowking using Chilly Reception, the new Gen 9 move, and switches in for Gracier for extra defense boost. Yanabi probably expected the Terra and goes for Earth Power here, which gets blocked. With Trick Room now up and Hatterene on the field, it is a very offensive side. Unlucky for Yanabi, the Heat Wave misses and the Hatterene doesn't go down. Yanabi is playing very well so far and he's defensively very strong, only not for the Stomping Tantrum for Gracier on Heatran. Iron Hands comes in, but Yanabi probably forgot about Psychic Terrain and the Fake Out doesn't hit, so the Chilling Water will go in for the attack drop. Iron Hands eventually goes down and Heatran comes in and does a Terra Grass, which is fine since it cannot get hit by fire moves, and now it has also resist water and ground. The Hatterene goes down and the game should be over with only Gracier and Slowking on the field, but the opposite happens. Yanabi loses some timer, which is very sad because he played this game very well and could have won. There's no worries though. If he plays the second game like the first game, he's definitely gonna win the second game, because he played very well in my opinion. Moving on to the second game, Yanabi started with the same Pokemon and Niggy starts with King Ambit instead of Indeedee. The game starts off with a powerful Helping Hand Earth Power, who deals half damage at the King Ambit, and the King Ambit does a powerful Kowtow Cleave. Trick Room is now activated and another Chilly Reception comes in for Sableye. The next Kowtow Cleave knocks out the Cresselia and Heatwave does some slight damage. Iron Hands gets faked out, while Heatran can set up a substitute. Suddenly, Sableye sets up a screen, while the King Ambit gets knocked out, and then Heatwave comes in. Then there is a problem. Gracier comes in, and with Snow and Reflect Up, it is hard to knock out, with his high bulk stat. Slowking comes in, and sets up another Trick Room, so Gracier is the fastest on the field. Iron Hands gets knocked out, and Gracier gets the attack boost, making it even more scarier. Ursaluna comes in, and if he goes for Terra Normal on Gracier, he might win this, but he goes on the Slowking and loses the endgame. Even though we lost the first game, I'm still very proud of Yanabi for playing very well. Sly can make it 1-1 with his team. I sadly don't have a Poképage of it, but you can see what Pokemon it contains in the video. The opponent has Slowpoke on his team and keeps the tradition alive of the Slumbering Slowpokes. Sky starts with Tornadoes and Great Tusk, and Robbie starts with Slowpoke and Iron Hands. A Terror Ghost activates to avoid the fake out and sets up a substitute and does a headlong rush on the Iron Hands to knock it out, but little do we know how powerful the Slowpoke is and sets up a Trick Room. Now brace yourself, ladies and gentlemen, cause Slowpoke hits and Surf to activate and weakness policy on the Torkoal, and he goes even more powerful eruption. I have never seen this tactic before, but my god, it was powerful since it swept Sly his team. It even has heal pulse to heal its partner up. The second game was no different, it just sweeps through the team with Slowpoke and Torkoal with Surf and weakness policy, and we lost the first match. I still have to play my match for possible tiebreakers, so I better win. I can already expect a Slowbro, so I have to watch out for that. Now you might be wondering, what team was I gonna cook? Since the announcement of Regulation D, I really wanted to try Enamorus and Thunderous. With a self-area impulse you can give your own Enamorus +2 special attack moves, and with Scarf it outspeeds most things. So the plan was perfect, but to build a team around it was the problem. I definitely wanted a Glastier because of one thing, Ursaluna. This Glastier outspeeds Ursaluna in Trick Room and can knock it out. So I grabbed my Pokemon Shield cartridge, speedrun through the story, bought the DLC and began hunting a 0 IV speed Glastier. I needed a Trick Room setup on my own and Cresselia was already taken, so I took Uxie. Uxie has a high defensive stat and can live most things, and it can set up screens. With Mental Herb you cannot get taunted, and with Terror Dog you can have extra tip damage for the foul play. The other two Pokemon were Landorus and Rillaboom. With Landorus you can basically set up Intimidate and U-turn yourself out for Rillaboom. With Rillaboom you can fake out and U-turn yourself into Landorus for another Intimidate drop. This was the team I'm using. Let's see how the game went. I played on cartridge. I started with Enamorus and Thunderous, and Steve starts with Tornadoes and Ursaluna. I predicted a Protect on Ursaluna and his Tornadoes didn't Tailwind. I terrestrialized my Enamorus into a Fairy type and was gonna Moonblast and Tornadoes and do a Thunderbolt on it. It fainted and Galarian Slowbro comes out, and it was time for me to do a self-area impulse Moonblast on the Ursaluna. And Shell's side arm knocks out the Enamorus, and that could have been a problem, but there was an advantage here. And here it comes. Steve sent out his Typhlosion, and with Tailwind up, it's very scary. I sent out my Landorus for the Intimidate drop. Steve did Terra Grass on the Typhlosion, and I did an Area Impulse to weaken the Eruption. It still hits hard, but the Stomping Tantrum halves the damage of Typhlosion. An Ice Beam knocks out my Landorus, and in one turn the game was turned. Glastier was my last Pokemon, but it was also the slowest on the field. Shell's side arm did a lot of damage and the Eruption brought me to half damage. And that is where I lose the game, because my Glastier doesn't outspeed the Slowbro. I hit a Stomping Tantrum, but it wasn't enough to win a knockout, and the Slowbro knocks me out. Game 2 starts with Steve leading with Regieleki and Typhlosion, and I start with Thunderous and Enamorus again. I instantly terrestrialized into a Fairy type and went for a Thunder Wave on the Typhlosion. A Thunderbolt from Regieleki doesn't knock out my Enamorus, and an Earth Power didn't knock out the Typhlosion. Luckily the Typhlosion was paralyzed and couldn't move. My Enamorus got knocked out next turn as I knock out the Typhlosion. I brought Uxie, who gets hit by a Thunderbolt and gets paralysis, which could be fatal in this match. I predicted the taunt on my Thunderous, and I did a Thunderbolt on the Tornadoes to knock it out. Regidrago was Steve's last Pokemon and I needed a game plan. I wanted to set up Light Screen, but then I got paralyzed and Dragon Energy hits hard and my Thunderous fainted. With Glastier on the field, it was the fastest Pokemon because I had Trick Room up. I could probably win this game, but went for an Icicle Crash into the Regidrago, which terrestrialized into a Steel type, and that will lost me the game. Honestly, I didn't play bad, but I should have made a read there, and it was over. GG's to Steve. We were defeated into the ground and were last in the group. Everything was still possible, but we needed to win the next match. And what do you know? We must play against Team Friesland. Team Friesland won 2-1 against Team Girlballs, and we had to make sure we won this game. With a bit of troublemaking with team decisions, but we got there in the end. Sky was gonna use something like this, a Chalk team, and Yanami was gonna use something different from himself from last game. Me myself also wanted to use something else. I was gonna cook something, and my inspiration came from the Eindhoven local where I played Sander and his Golden Girl. This was the first team I made. It was the beta version with Nasty Pot Golden Girl and Mousehold. With a lot of practicing, I did not play well at the end with Mousehold and Golden Girl. I even tried it with Iron Hands, but it didn't just work. So I needed something new, and that new thing definitely was Tornadoes. Tornadoes can set up Tailwind for Golden Go, and with Specs, Golden Go and Terra Steel you can knock out most matchups with Make It Rain. I had the brilliant idea for another Pokemon, Baskerlegion. With Tailwind up and Rain Dance, your water moves are gonna increase in power with Life Orb, and you have a whopping 400 plus speed definitely on your Baskerlegion. With last respects and one Pokemon down, you have at least 100 base power for your last respects. This is my final team. With all the teams done, we are now facing off against Team Friesland. It was Sly against Niels, Yanami vs Ivar, you know, the Ivar that went on day 2 with Malmo with the Squawk ability team, and I must face off against Steel Trainer VGC. This is how the matches went. Sly must play against Niels, from the popular YouTube video with Craft. Niels starts with Cresselia and Iron Hands, and immediately switches to Torkoal to set up the sun. A fake out hits Torkoal, but Cresselia goes for Trick Room, meaning Torkoal can move first. But Niels isn't going for Eruption, but rather switch into Ursaluna and doing a flamethrower. Urshifu is now in the field, but the game is pretty much over since Ursaluna can now move first and also is the Torkoal. Trick Room gets reversed and Sneasler comes in and Grassy Seed is activated. The fake out hits and the facade knocks out the Cresselia. With the double attack on the protecting Ursaluna, Sky can do nothing now and loses the match. Everything is still to be played in Game 2. Game 2 starts and Sky now goes for Terror Water Urshifu into Cresselia, and a knockoff is enough to knock it out. And Wild Charge takes care of the Urshifu. Ursaluna comes in and does a protect, and the Wild Charge doesn't do that much on Wigaboom. This matchup was better than in the first game since Trick Room isn't activated now. The Torkoal switch in, and with a facade the Wigaboom is getting knocked out. Niels reads and protect from Sneasler and can swap in Iron Hands. With that being said, the game is also over because Sneasler isn't taking care of the Torkoal and we are 1-0 down. Can we do the impossible by winning 2 games? We're gonna find out. It was time for my match. I must win if we want to have a chance of going through. I start with Tornadoes and Golden Go, and my opponent goes for Dragonite and Chien-Pao. I trained a lot with my team to know this matchup was super good for me. And Terra normal extreme speed doesn't knock me out, as I can set up a Tailwind. And then super powerful Make It Rain takes care of the Dragonite, and a Throat Chop keeps me to half damage. And Sucker Punch and Aqua Jet knocks me out, and I can set up a Rain Dance at least. I send out Baskerlegion and Chien-Pao. With a Sucker Punch I knocked out the Chien-Pao, and our Sumo Whale protected itself. Wigaboom comes out, and it was pretty easy since I can protect and knock out the Azumarill Whale, and that was basically game 1-1. A huge W for me as I knock out the Wigaboom. I hope I can play as good in game 2. Game 2 starts and we both have the same Pokemon at least. This time the Chien-Pao goes for Sucker Punch and the Dragonite goes for Brick Break, allowing me to set up Tailwind and Make It Rain, both knock out the Dragonite this time. Baskerlegion comes out and does an Aqua Jet, since it's in Rain and Tailwind. It outspeeds the Chien-Pao and Dragonite is locked into Brick Break, since it has a choice band. Dragonite returns and I do last respects on Wigaboom, but with Break White Storm, the Wigaboom faints, leaving my opponent with 2 Pokemons on the field. The Dragonite comes on the field and goes for an extreme speed, but without the Chien-Pao I actually survive and win this game. I do a taunt and a last respects, and then an Aqua Jet is enough. Good game and the first win for the Porygon VGC. Yanabi has to win his game to get a chance of going through. It was the moment of truth. Ivar vs Yanabi. Yanabi starts with Iron Bundle and King Ambit, and Ivar starts with Earthworm and Thunderous. Iron Bundle protects turn 1 while Area Impulse doesn't hit it. And Kowtow Cleave hits Thunderous while Earthworm goes for an Iron Defense. In the next turn, Iron Bundle gets paralyzed and the Thunderous is getting knocked out by Kowtow Cleave as well as the King Ambit. Landorus and Dondozo came into the field and its attack fell by Intimidate. The next turn was very unlucky, since Iron Bundle gets paralyzed and the protecting Dondozo isn't even hit. The Earthworm does Shed Tail and Landorus comes in with a substitute and drops another Intimidate. Baskerlegion protects and both of Yanabi's Pokemon goes for the Baskerlegion. This doesn't look very good since Ivar is reading this game. Tatsugiri comes in and raises all of Dondozo's stats, and with Order Up, its attack even rose. And Wave Crash comes in, and the Earthworm cannot set up a Shed Tail. Then the Baskerlegion gets hit by an Order Up. This looks very good now for Yanami, as the Dondozo is now very strong and bulky and can knock everybody out in its wave. And its leftovers, it even restores health. The Baskerlegion is now knocked out, and with a Terra Blast flying from Landorus, it nearly knocks out the Dondozo. And Wave Crash comes in and knocks out the Renderers, winning Yanabi game 1. Game 2 starts and this time Ivar goes for Pelipper and Greninja. And Helping Hand Water Shuriken isn't enough to knock out the Iron Bundle, and Iron Bundle goes for Freeze Dry. Iron Bundle and Greninja both go for Protect next turn as the Pelipper and King Ambit both go for them. Dondozo comes in and takes a Water Shuriken as the Pelipper goes for a powerful Hydro Pump into the King Ambit. King Ambit protects the Water Shuriken this turn, but the Hurricane almost knocks out the Dondozo, and it even gets worse. It gets confused. It goes for Order Up and knocks out the Greninja. Tatsugira and Thunderous both come in and activate the Commander ability. Wave Crash knocks out the Thunderous, but at what cost? The Dondozo feigns do recoil damage. Renderous comes in and goes for an Earthquake, which makes Yanabi loses this game. Tatsugiri still lives and goes for an Icy Wind. Iron Bundle comes in and goes for a Freeze Dry, which knocks out the Pelipper, but Renderous still is fast as set 3 and then loses the game. Onward to game 3 for the decisive blow. Game 3 starts and we see one change, the Tatsugiri instead of King Ambit. The Greninja does again a Water Shuriken on the Iron Bundle, but this time it knocks it out. Battlebond activates and Hyper Voice does some damage on both foes. Dondozo comes in, but Commander doesn't activate because it was Hisuian Zoroark on the field. Order Up knocks out the Pelipper. Thunderous comes in and goes for a Thunder Wave, and this is where the true Ivar comes in with a Dark Pulse and try to Power Freeze him. Renderous comes in and gets hit by Order Up, but also goes off the field by U-turn. Dondozo knocks out the Greninja with Order Up, and it was a 3 against 2. The Renderous and Thunderous both knock out the Dondozo, and the Zoroark comes back in for one last ride. An Earthquake hits hard, but an Hyper Voice and the Renderous. The Wild Board Storm kills the Zoroark and the Muddy Water does some damage on Thunderous. Thunderous has to miss, and it does! Yanabi wins the match and the game for the team. We have won! We are still in the race to the knockout stage. Niels even left this message behind.
Jongens, breek maar af. Ivar heeft verloren. Get Robstar-Z.
Let him game, vriezen, let him game. Blijf net zitten, Steven, vriezen, je mag steen.
Sorry for that clip. Didn't really need to traumatize you. Anyway, these are the standings. Everyone still can go through, but we need Team Friesland to lose. And we need to win from Team Girlballs in order to go to the knockout stage. We must not underestimate Team Girlballs. They will do everything in their power to win from us. Sky must play against Jenai, Yanabi against Iris, and I must play against Eski. This is how the games went. Yanabi uses a similar team from the second game, and Iris has a good team overall. Let's see how the battle goes. Iris starts with Thunderous and Frutamane, and Yanabi starts with Dondozo and probably Hisuian Zoroark. Dondozo protects while Frutamane doesn't get knocked out and does some major damage on the Zoroark. Amoonguss switches in and Frutamane protects the attack from the Zoroark while Thunderwave misses from the Thunderous. Chien-Pao comes in and this time the Thunderous chooses to taunt the Amoonguss and the Bitter Maris hits the Chien-Pao. An Ice Spinner knocks out the Zoroark while Pollenpuff kills the Chien-Pao and the critical hit definitely mattered. Frutamane and Dondozo came back on the field and this time the true Tatsugiri come in and has the Commander ability. Thunderwave then hits and a Terra Fairy Moonblast hits for some decent damage, but the Thunderous is getting knocked out. And Moonblast and Drain Punch eventually knocks out the Dondozo and it looks very bad for Yanabi. Amoonguss comes in for Yanabi and doesn't go for Rage Powder, losing Yanabi game 1. Game 2 starts and they have the same leads. Turn 1 is nearly identical and the Zoroark holds on to a Focus Sash. Tinglu comes in, who is immune to a Thunder Wave, and Frutamane protected itself. I guess the Tinglu is not Assault Vest here, since the Desmond Game did so much damage without even hitting a crit. And Heavy Slam knocks out the Frutamane. Zoroark gets knocked out, while the Tinglu tries to attack the Chien-Pao, who just came on the field. Dondozo protected itself again, and an Ice Spinner knocks out the Tinglu. This game looks very much over, even with the Commander ability. The Chien-Pao has haste, which eliminates all stat changes. Yanabi tries to stall the game and eventually knocks out the Chien-Pao, but next was Urshifu who knocks out the Dondozo and the game was over. 1-0 for Team Girlballs, and it is me next. I need to win in order to win this game. I must do anything in my power to win this game. I had the same team as last week, so this was gonna be very fun. She starts with Kiefer and Hisuian Gudra. Tailwind and Make It Rain, except I didn't want to waste my Terra Steel into this because Cleaver gets knocked out anyway. It is a Scarfed Cleaver, but it goes down after Make It Rain. And Body Press will not hit because I'm still a Ghost type. I do a Rain Dance and Make It Rain crits the Renderers, but my Tornadus gets knocked out. Team Pao comes out and breaks a Focus Sash while having Stealth Rock on the field. I switch it to Bask Legion and go for a Terra Ghost, so the Body Press cannot hit me. Moltres goes down to 1 Wave Crash and an Ice Spinner doesn't hit hard. Next turn I win with a Last Respect and Sacred Sword on the Hisuian Gudra. This looks very good for me and we go into game 2. Ashley this time goes for Renderers and Grimmsnarl. Grimmsnarl sets up screens and I go for a Terra Steel, Make It Rain, and it does knock out the Grimmsnarl, but not the Renderers. The Renderers goes for Smackdown. I do a Rain Dance and do another Make It Rain, but it is still not enough to knock out the Renderers. My own Golden Go gets knocked out now. Bask Legion comes in and does a Wave Crash and doesn't hit the Moltres, but at least the Breakbind Storm knocks out the Renderers. Among Us is next, which could be a problem, but I did a Last Respect and Breakbind Storm doesn't kill, which is fatal because Moltres goes Berserk and boosted special attack stat. Ashley made a good read and I lost game 2. If I lose game 3, all hope is lost. Game 3 starts and I go for a Chi-Yu and Golden Go this time around. I do a Terra Grass to survive the Stone Axe and do a Heat Wave which is both foes. I burn the Renderers, very lucky, and I do a Make It Rain. Among Us and Moltres goes next and I did a Snarl to reduce the air slash damage and then another Make It Rain. Now Moltres goes Berserk and his special attack goes to normal. A Terra Blast knocks out the Among Us and a Fiera Wrath knocks out both my Pokemon. Tornadus and Bask Legion comes out and with a Rain Dance and Wave Crash I won this game. It was 1-1 on our team. Team Friesland was also 1-1 and they have the decisive blow. In the beginning of July 1st, 2 Slowbro played against Niggy the Kid. It was 1-1 in games and this was the decisive blow. And Niggy lost because of an early Rock Slide flinch. What a bummer. With this news, we are out in the Wugtrio Cup and cannot go through. Our story ends here in the group stage. We even lost to Team Girlballs. Not that it matters. Sly lost his last game, losing all our games for our team. Yanabi won 1 and I won 2 games for my team, which I am very proud of. Thanks for all the matches Team Friesland, Slumbering Slowpokes and Team Girlballs. Thanks for Jorijn for setting up this tournament and I hope to see you next year. I hope it's gonna be held next year with different players in the team. But wait. For now, let's actually see who plays against who in the quarterfinals, because maybe you guys are curious, and it's a movie, right? We cannot finish the movie if we don't know who won. This is the top cut, the final stage of the tournament. I am not gonna highlight every match, but I will definitely do a summary of it. These were the teams that played against each other. It was Team Richt versus Pensage and Co, the Shroom Haters versus Team Friesland, the Slumbering Slowpokes versus the Leafeon Wakers, and Threesome against the Almere Trappers. Alright, so Team Richt with Jorijn, Mark and Andres versus Pensage and Co with Charlie, Trapje and Fomu. We will win. Well, it was Pansage and Co who won with the final blow. Team Friesland played against the Shroom Haters, but due to private reasons, Team Friesland lost and the Shroom Haters advanced. Well, that goes my prediction of Team Friesland making it to the finals. Thank you very much, Niels. Thank you for losing. The Slumbering Slowpokes versus the Leafeon Wakers was an interesting, since Slumbering Slowpokes only use Slowpokes, but their story ends here. The Leafeon Wakers were just too strong and defeated them 2-1. Very much respect for the Slumbering Slowpokes for putting only Slowpokes on the team. At last, it was the Crash versus the Almere Trappers and Threesome. This was an interesting match, but Threesome pulled through. Alright, so we have the top 4 now. It was Pansage and Co versus the Shroom Haters and the Crash versus Threesome and the Leafeon Wakers. The last one is definitely a final worthy battle and all eyes were on them. Sander plays against Bars and lost 2-0, so Threesome were 1-0 up. Reiki played awesome versus Timo and Reiki pulled through, so it was 1-1. Last was KD VGC versus Youngmora and KD VGC won. The last match was very decisive and the Leafeon Wakers pulled through. With the Leafeon Wakers now in the finals, the Shroom Haters must play against Pensage and Co. This was also an interesting match, with Charlie, Trapje and Fomu pulled through and won the game and making it to the finals. I sadly don't have the footage of the finals, but I can tell you one thing. The Leafeon Wakers won this fight and with that the Leafeon Wakers won the Wugtrio Cup 2023. I hope you enjoyed. This video cost me a lot of time to make and it was lots of fun competing in this cup. If you like these kinds of special videos, I will make more of tournaments I participate in, especially in the Dutch VGC. I gotta be honest, the audio could have been better, but practice makes perfect and I'm improving my video skills every day. Congratulations to Sander, aka Tegelwiggle, KD and Reiki, and it is an honor to call you the Wugtrio 2023 champions. I will see you in the next video, maybe VGC, maybe Nuzlocke or the special videos, who know. But what I do know is that a like and subscribe will definitely help. Thank you for watching, have a nice day